Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Celebrate Southern Africa. My name is Dawn Denton, and this evening I am talking to such an interesting lady. Riana Avis is joining me from Buckingham. Why Buckingham? How did you end up in Buckingham? It's a beautiful part of the world, isn't it?
It is lovely, yes. The short answer is we're scattered, well, I was going to say across the UK. That's probably a correct kind of description. And we were down in Surrey, in Redhill, and it was, where can we go where it's sort of equidistant for everyone? And so Milton Keynes was it. And it's thought, no, we're not moving to Milton Keynes. And then it was okay, well, so let's look at the villages around that, and came across Buckingham, and here we are.
Do you know what I love about the UK is, yes, I mean, in South Africa you've got cities and you've got country towns, but here
Yeah.
the villages and the small communities have a very, very different, quaint personality, don't they?
Yes, yes.
And there's a lot of history in those little villages as well, which makes it so interesting.
Yes, and what's interesting right now is there used to be a railway station here at Buckingham, and now my partner is researching all of that, and he wants to build a railway track, and he goes back and he researches it all. And yesterday we went for a walk in Stowe at the National Trust property, and it's like, what's the history here, and when did it become National Trust properties? And you just go back into all of that history. There's, Buckingham, the town was actually the county town for Buckinghamshire a long time ago. Don't ask me dates. I was never a history buff.
You'll be thankful. You'll be thankful to know that even my history teacher used to say, "Don't worry about dates. Just know that things happen in a certain order. That's all you need to worry about."
But now it's so now we're not the county town anymore. It's Aylesbury. Aylesbury, is that right? Yeah, I think that's the name.
Well, tell me now, so you came to the UK in the last century. Wow, that sounds like a long time ago.
Yes.
And I believe you started working life as a radiographer. What a journey you've been on, because now, in a way, you've kind of gone in a circle because you're helping people again, but you're now helping helpers and healers to run their businesses and become more successful. What I love about your business is that you are able to focus people in 7 main areas of their business, and the vision always comes first. And I'm curious as to why you think the vision is the most important, because I know a lot of people will go, oh, well, I'm a healer, or I run a therapy center, or whatever it is. I know what I'm doing. So why do I need a vision?
Why do you need a vision? I think we all have dreams. We all have something that we aspire to. And if you build a business, I always say, when you go into business for yourself, you run a business, it's the greatest personal development journey you can go on, because really you come across all your inner demons. I'm not good enough. This isn't working. You have to get over that, blaming other people and all sorts of things. And your business cannot grow until you grow. And to have a vision just inspires you. It inspires other people, the people that you work with, your clients, the people that you want to attract, your suppliers. If you build a team, it becomes so important to have that vision, so you can hold up the future to them. This is what we're working towards. We're not just digging holes here. We're building a cathedral. It's that kind of concept, so that they can see the bigger image, get the bigger picture, and really buy into, I am working towards that future. I'm a part of building that future. And that's really what you want, why you want a vision.
Yeah. And why specifically healers and helpers? And what do you classify as helpers?
Right. So, as you already know, when you become a coach or work in any industry, really, it's very difficult to niche down. Ideally, you would say, I I uh, I work with a specific type of clientele.
Mhm.
And that was very difficult for me. So in the beginning, I worked with all sorts of people. I work with engineers, MLM people, coaches, all kinds of people. And then what happened was um, I started working with a psychotherapist, and we really clicked. She introduced me to someone else who was an occupational therapist. We really clicked. And it's like, something's going on here, and the more I worked with those kind of people and met other healers and helpers, the more I realized I can bridge that gap between, shall we call it, the right brain and the left brain. So healers and helpers, people who help other people, um, health-wise, um, um, yeah, energy healers, the therapists we talked about already, coaches, life coaches, um,
So for well-being, I suppose, for
hypnotherapists, all of
the
those.
the overall well-being
Yes,
of
yes,
people.
yes, yes. Good word, well-being. Yes.
Why specifically did you, so you chose that area, but why did you feel that they needed the help that you could offer? Because sometimes you look at an industry and you go, oh, they sorted in that way, and those people are sorted in that way, and there's, we're all trying to solve problems, and we were able to solve problems in the work that we do. But what was the connection, do you think, between you and the healers and the helpers?
Well, first of all, I could connect with them when I talked about energy healing or hypnotherapy or psychotherapy. So we can speak the same language. That's where the bridge comes in. And then when I talk to them, they sometimes chaotic. Things are chaotic. There's very little structure, or the structure is not working very well for them. And to just get organized is where I then come in, because I spend time in IT, building systems, doing business analysis, running projects, and all that kind of stuff. So all that left brain stuff comes to play, and that's where I bring the value. And of course, being in the corporate world where they've done the vision, they worked with people managing project portfolios, processes, data, and all of those kind of things. So you bring those kind of disciplines to the smaller businesses in a way that works for the businesses.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what is the big thing that you noticed, especially in 2020, that some of these small businesses were struggling with the most? Was it making themselves relevant during the pandemic or shutdown, or how did you feel that they coped with that?
Um, so most of the people that I already work with were doing online, um, some online work, and the psychotherapist that I worked with immediately had to switch to online work. Now, it's not something that they necessarily would have done without being forced, um, but they switched, so that was a big step for them.
Mhm.
What I noticed in my manager clients, who are, when you're a therapy, you have that sort of therapy bias. I'll call it that therapist outlook. You're a soft person, you're a gentle person, you want to help other people. you want to make them happy. You do a lot, you can do a lot of accommodating, which is not necessarily good for you or your business. So what I noticed with my owner managers was suddenly it was, this is the boundary. My business is at risk. If I don't say this is the way it is, if you don't, if this is how it has to be right now, and if it doesn't work for you, I'm sorry, but I can't accommodate what you need. So
Wow.
they all became much stronger when it came to boundaries. It's like this,
With their own staff
their
members
own
and their
staff
team.
members.
Okay.
Yeah. And without a guilt feeling, because often it's like, no, I can't adjust the schedule like the way you want me to adjust it, and then feel guilty about it because now this person is going off in a sulk. It's like that, no more guilt, no more. This is the way it is. I'm doing it for the business. So it became less personal in a way. It's like, I'm fighting for my business. I'm having to do this, this, and this. And if you can't help me there, then I'm sorry, but then it's time to go.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yes, it was very interesting to observe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I find that stuff fascinating. And so what did you learn about yourself in 2020?
In 2020, what did I learn about myself? That I can get a lot done.
That's amazing when you don't go anywhere.
And I was already working, as I said, with a lot of my clients online. But when this whole COVID thing came about years ago, probably about 5 years ago, I ran a course called Expect Miracles. And I did it online then, and it was in a group format, and it was all about looking at health, wealth, relationships, and self, what I call self-expression. So how do you show up in the world? But coming very much from a spiritual perspective, you know, universe, what does the universe say about this? What does, and I'm a Course in Miracles student, so I bring a lot of that teaching into it. And so I knew that this is a time when we're going to have to dig deep. If we have to get through this COVID crisis, we have to dig deep. It's the only way. And so I made that available straight away. And when I say straight away, 2 weeks before then, I chatted with someone who said, you know, you really should start a Facebook group for your healers and helpers. And it was like, me, Facebook group? Never.
Never say never.
I know. And there I was creating this Facebook group to make Expect Miracles available to people. And then of course I had to go through all the material and so on. So that was one thing. Then I have a Master Your Money course, which I've been wanting to put online for a long time. So that went online. It was just one thing after another, and it built a new website for Master Your Money.
So do you think that the circumstances sometimes, like you said with your owner managers, they just as human beings we're adaptable, and just suddenly the circumstance changes and we just go, oh, okay, so that can't be done now, we have to do this, and we grow in those times, because those are the times when we're able to probably surprise ourselves. Like you were like, oh, what? Oh, Facebook group, whoa.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
The miracle happened because you created a Facebook group. I find human beings are actually quite resilient, but I sometimes wonder why in business it takes a circumstance or a situation like a pandemic to make us evolve, make us, you know, change the way we think, or maybe improve things. Why do you think, what blocks us from making those changes when sometimes they're right in front of us, but we just can't do it until suddenly there's a pandemic and we do it?
Well, a pandemic is a crisis, and you know, we can have a personal crisis without a pandemic. We don't need it. It's just we're all in personal crisis at the moment. It's when you go to the doctor and the doctor says you've got to lose weight now, otherwise you're going to have a heart attack in the next 3 months. You know, it's that critical. Then you might say, well, okay, I've been carrying this weight for a long time. I really need to do something about it because it's now crunch time. And it's often a case of, well, you know, it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. And we're in our comfort zone, and it's risky to go beyond the comfort zone. And I just can't get on with what I know, and maybe a stretch a small bit, but not a lot. That's not true for everyone, but that's often the way that we operate. When I was networking quite a bit early on, I chatted to somebody, and it was all about, because one of the things that I can help businesses with is to structure in such a way that they eventually, their business becomes, they can step away from the business and the business can operate by itself. And a business becomes more valuable if you're not involved, if the owner is not involved in the business. You have an asset that you can sell. And I was chatting to this chap, and he worked with businesses that were going, well, bankruptcy really, you know. And I said, let me have a chat to this person. Why is he going bankrupt all the time? It's not necessary. We can put some things in place, see what's going on, and we can, you know, come up with ways and means that he can make a viable business. We can help his business grow. And this chap's answer to me was, he won't be interested. And because he's told me the only way I know how to run a business is to start one, run it into the ground,
oh goodness,
and then do it again.
That was his crisis point.
Yeah, and he's done it. By that stage, I think he must have done it about 3 or 4 times. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of businesses it was, but I remember that conversation. It was weird.
Yeah, I think sometimes we are held back by so many things. Like either it's a lack of confidence, or it's what I always say, that it's also the fear of success. You know,
Absolutely.
if you suddenly promote yourself, oh goodness, will I cope? Are there enough hours in a day for me to deliver this service? I don't want to tell too many people, because otherwise, you know, what do I do then? And also maybe giving people the tools to say, well, if you suddenly do have a massive influx of people who want your services, how can you put systems in place so that you don't lose those customers, or that you can expand?
Yeah, or you work out, you know, how much can I handle? What can I delegate? How can I structure my time? Those things that you said. Another thing that's a big block for people, or can be a big block, is that thing about success. Fear of success is actually sometimes worse than fear of failure, but visibility. What if people see me? Especially if you are a healer, a helper, and you are somebody who you put your soul on the line. You know, you make yourself very known by saying, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe in. And now people who maybe don't believe that, it's not their point of view, then come and question you and ask, and maybe want to change your point of view for you, you know. And it's like, I don't want that. Often it's, I don't want that. How do I deal with that? How do I cope with that? I know for myself, I could never be a politician, because there's just no way I want to justify myself like that. So visibility can be a big block.
Yeah, and I think also with a healer, it's about the person that they're healing, and they generally will step back and say, this is about you. It's not about me. I'm trying to give you the tools. I'm trying to support you, help you with your well-being. And to
Yeah.
now tell them they've got to go maybe on a Facebook Live, maybe they've got to put themselves in the local paper, or they've got to do an interview. And they're like, oh, no, it's not about me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So tell me what it is in your everyday life that reminds you that you're a South African.
Oh, gosh. That's a very good question. Probably some of the phrases that I come up with or just throw out. Like if something is crooked, I would say, oh, it's skiff.
And then everyone gives you a skiff look, like, what is she on about?
Yes. You know how you go blank when somebody asks you a question just like that?
I get it.
Yeah, a phrase that I use quite often is oy vey. You know, something will happen and I'll say oy vey. It's not a South African phrase, but that's where I learned it. And I use it with, and probably use it with some people, not everyone.
It's interesting how we can filter sometimes, you know, and we can choose how we want to say stuff. And suddenly when you're with someone who uses a certain phrase, you say it more and you're like, I haven't used that phrase forever. And now suddenly it's just popped into my head. And now I've just spat it out.
Yeah.
So you were born in the Western Cape, and then you went to Joburg. So where were you schooled? Where did you go to school?
A place called Kraaifontein, which is about halfway between Cape Town and Paarl on the N1. On the
what
national...
a gorgeous part of the world.
Yes.
I bet that's still in your soul every day.
It is, because I have a talk where the title of the talk is, "Are you sure your name is Riana?"
I'll have to say no, because my name is definitely not Riana.
But anyway, where we lived in Kraaifontein, when I looked out the back window, if I stood in the backyard and I looked out there, I would look towards Stellenbosch and I would see the tops of the Simonsberg Mountains.
The space. That's, you know, the sky seems higher in Africa, doesn't it? It seems quite low here, doesn't it?
Yeah, big skies, yeah. And if I stood in the front garden and I looked towards Cape Town, I could see Table Mountain, the top of Table Mountain.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a stunning part of the world.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Now, if somebody is watching and listening and they think, maybe I've trained to be a healer, or I've done a course and it's been as something in the side and I've never really made it into a business, what would be your top recommendation for them besides just do it?
I would, we talked about vision earlier. I would probably say, okay, why do you want to do this? What's your vision? What's the purpose behind this? How do you see this panning out? How much is this full-time? Is it part-time? All those, you know, get a feel for what they want to do with it.
Yeah, and then also who your target audience is and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the things that I think people always ask is, when I'm working for myself, at what point do I start outsourcing stuff? Because you've got a Facebook page, you've got your website, and then someone tells you you've got a blog, and then you've got to, you know, go on the radio and have a local interview, and then you still got to deliver the services, and you've got to reply to your customers and check your emails and the payments. At what point do you go, okay, now someone else needs to take that job on?
Okay, there's two answers to that.
Oh, good. I like those answers.
The one is before you really need them.
Okay.
And the other one is the minute you get, there's jobs that don't get done because you just don't get round to it, and you just have too much on your plate and you don't like them. And that's definitely the point. So it's good to be aware straight off And it's something that I do with my clients a lot. Where do you spend your time? How do you spend your time? And make a list of those things that where you spend time where somebody else can do it very easily.
Yeah, because they've also got the skills and they could probably do it in a quarter of the time, because we're
Absolutely.
struggling because you
Yeah.
don't know how, and then you
Yeah.
have to Google how. And
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you waste your time, and it's very nice. Look, I'm a learner. I really like to learn new things, and I can get interested into most things. Um, and so I want to be able to write copy. I want to be able, I always come from the tech world, you know. I want to be able to build my own website and things like that. I like doing it, but at the same time, it really doesn't serve my business if I really want to go full on, full out. Now I'm at a stage of my life where I don't want a full-time business, so I can allocate some time playing on my website, which I love doing on a Sunday, for instance. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you wait till you're really busy and now you need somebody and you still need to train them and all that, you like double your workload as well.
That's a
And
good
then
point.
and then people say, oh, now I have twice as much work. But they never did the preparation steps to get somebody else on board.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because then they might just go, oh, it's too much hard work to train them. I can't, I'll just, it's just better if I just do it myself. And then they end up
Yes.
in that cycle
Yeah.
on their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you love the most about your job?
Oh, just working with these people who are absolutely amazing. You know, therapists are of the world's, they have such big hearts, and they always want to know more. They always want to learn more. They always want to help people, um, and they not just psychotherapists, but occupational therapists, and even uh, um, um, acupuncturists. You know, the things that they have to go through, the training that they have to do, stay licensed, to stay current, and all that. It's absolutely amazing. And they do it. They love it. And just listening to them speak with passion about what they do, it really touches you, touches me.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think to get to work in an environment where you feel inspired by people that you're working with, and
Mm,
they can be inspired by you, I think, whoa, that's a marriage made in
mm,
heaven.
absolutely. Yeah, earlier this year, not this, it wasn't this year, it was last year, before COVID, actually.
Yeah.
One of my clients ran a couples workshop here in the UK. I was like, you come and run that workshop here, I'm going to be there. I want to watch you. I want to see you at work. And it was, for me, it was a beautiful experience. I know the couples took a lot away as well. And but I was thinking about that the other day, and that was one of my peak experiences, being there, supporting her, running that workshop, observing her work. And her flow was fantastic.
Oh, how wonderful. And you're very lucky that you love your job, because too many people just don't.
Mhm.
And they just do it because they have to, and it pays the bills. And there's the fear of stepping out of that comfort zone is also
Mhm.
quite scary.
Yeah.
So tell us how people can get in touch with you and the kind of work that you're doing at the moment. That would be great.
So on my website, rianaavis.com, via email, there's a contact form there. And the work that I do, typically this time of year, is what's your vision? What do you want to establish? What do you want to get done this year? Then we break that down into 90-day goals. And then we work the 90 days. I call that the 90-day sprint. And then once that's done, then we plan for the next 90 days and so on. So that's basically how I work with my clients anyway. And then in between sessions, one-to-one, it's like, what are the issues that we need to solve? What's coming up now? What are the sticky points? All those kind of things. And then the group thing is just starting. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Oh, well, good luck with that. It's been so lovely to find out more about you. And if anyone wants to find out more about Riana, rianaavis.com. And there's lovely stuff on the website. There's articles, there's links to her blog, amazing stuff. So please pop over and have a look. And it's been an absolute joy to chat to you, Riana. And please do come again and tell us what you've learned from 2021.
Thank you, Dawn. Lovely
Thanks
to
very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.